let's start with the Stephon Gilmore latest and update on the Stephon Gilmore situation. Mike Giardi of NFL Network confirming that Stephon Gilmore is indeed in town in the New England area, not necessarily to report to the team, but at least he's in Boston, Foxborough, wherever you want to call it, and is in the state of Massachusetts. And on top of that, on Saturday, and this is what I really wanted to get to, is Mike Reese's Sunday notes, which are obviously must read for everybody, but he kind of painted a positive light, I would say, on the situation, just saying that he doesn't sense any animosity or any ill will for Stephon Gilmore towards the team or vice versa. And he also said that, quote, he seems to enjoy being a Patriot, is open to sticking around, and this was his least expensive but most decisive way of sparking more productive contract talks with the team so he can feel better about being a part of New England's present and future. So Mike is of the ilk that thinks that this isn't, there's no burned bridge here. This is something that could definitely come back and be positive for the Patriots in terms of Stephon Gilmore sticking around. He's in the Boston area. It does feel like this has a resolution if the Patriots and Stephon Gilmore want to find it.
Yeah, and I mean, we've talked about this before, how important Gilmore is to the Patriots this year. And I don't know that the Patriots can afford to not find common ground. I don't know that they can afford to test him and call his bluff and not bring him back. They need him if they want to compete this year. He's arguably the most important player on the team, what he means for the defense. The depth at the cornerback position is not what it has been the last 2 or 3 years. They need him back. They have to figure out a way to get him back, and I think he knows that.
Yeah, I think that he has all the leverage in the world right now. And Stephon Gilmore is looking at this roster and saying, look, J.C. Jackson's a nice 1B right now to me. Is he a true number one guy that can shut down his matchup every single week and basically let you play 10 on 10, right, on the other right. Players on the roster or whatever you want to call it, and just say, Stephon Gilmore's got Stephon Diggs this week. Everybody else worry about everyone else, right? You know, that sort of thing. And the game planning situation for the Patriots is always, they get to Wednesday and they say, Stephon Gilmore, you have this guy. This is what we're going to do against everybody else on the offensive side of the football. And this sort of goes back to like even Ty Law or Darrelle Revis or other shutdown corners that the Patriots have had that have allowed them to play like that and allow them to be aggressive and play a lot of cover one, knowing that they didn't have to roll that safety in that direction or play with 2 deep safeties to protect over the top. So many schematic advantages to having Stephon Gilmore on the Patriots roster. And it does sound like the contract resolution does exist. Like, there is a path to getting this done. The comp that we keep on hearing is that Darius Slay contract, that 3 for $16 million per year, somewhere around $50.5 million over the entire life of the contract if it reaches all of its incentives and stuff like that, total value. About $26 million guaranteed. I think that's maybe a little bit rich for a player of his age, but somewhere in that $14 to $16 million range if we're talking extension. But I do think the interesting question on top of the extension question is, what do they do if it's just a short-term solution in terms of, like last year, how they gave him a little bit of a salary bump, right? How far do you go if you're just looking to get him back in the building for 2021?
I mean, I think that has to be an option because it's better than not getting him back at all. And I would argue a 1-year deal is better than, say, a 4 or 5 year deal, just given his age. You know, you'll have cap space next year, and it projects to be a strong cornerback class. We'll see how much that actually happens. You don't know who's going to sign extensions, et cetera, but it looks to be a strong cornerback class next year. So you have that in play. You can dip back to the draft again. I think you need to worry about this year, and it's a long-term need one way or the other, right? Gilmore coming back, not coming back doesn't change much. If you lose J.C. Jackson, it certainly becomes even more pressing, but I don't think that they can necessarily look at it in terms of, well, you know, and I know they like to take the 5-year approach. You can't do that here. You need to do what's best for the team right now, and then you figure it out down the road.
Yeah, the uncharacteristically aggressive offseason goes up in flames if Stephon Gilmore is not on the Patriots, right? Yes. It feels like he is the missing piece. He is the last piece of the puzzle that wasn't out there at minicamp. It feels like he needs to be out there.